Leo Saints from the Rim of Africa is joining me in studio. Today he's going to introduce us to South Africa's longest mountain traverse. Hello.
Greetings.
Well, talking about hiking is, I think, quite suited to the weather that we have now. It's warming up, people are thinking about getting outdoors, and we're talking about the Rim of Africa, South Africa's longest mountain traverse. Now, there's only 2 people, you were telling me before the interview, that have ever walked this thing from beginning to end.
Correct, and that was in 2012. We had a young National Geographic explorer who received a grant specifically to do that particular journey and document it and create a social media and multimedia diary of his experience. And he did a great job. His name is Jay Simpson. And he scouted the skyline route of the Rim of Africa, which is really walking on the very ridge lines of the Cape Mountains from the Cederberg right through to the Outeniqua Mountains in the Garden Route.
Wow.
And then last year we had a young guy from Pretoria, 20-year-old Bernie Teron, who scouted our valley route. So we're creating 2 routes. One is on the skyline, the ridgeline of the mountains, and the other one is in the valleys, which is much more accessible for average folk who aren't too extreme and don't want to be brazing the elements that much.
That's me.
That's you.
That's me.
Well, you're going to love the valley route. Yeah.
Now, tell me about the Rim of Africa. It takes 2 months to walk from beginning to end if you were that brave, if you want to join those other 2 fellows who have done it. Tell me about the routes and the type of people who can walk the routes.
Well, yes, it's about 56 days from end to end if you're going to do what we call the through hike. And a through hike is there's a strong culture around that internationally on trails, where you've got these mega distance trails that go anything from a couple of 100 miles or kilometers to thousands of kilometers, like the Appalachian Trail in America or the Tararoa in New Zealand. So Rim of Africa is actually quite a tiny little hike in the bigger scheme of things around the world. But as far as getting out there, we've broken the hike up into 9 stages, approximately a week long each. And we're also launching weekenders on the Rim of Africa, which is about a 3-day experience.
That sounds more up my alley.
Totally up your alley. I've just come back from one now
Really?
this weekend. It was pretty epic.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Well, we were actually scouting a new section around on what we call Stage 2, which is in the Ko-Bokkerveld. And this is one of the things about Rim of Africa that's really important to understand. We are linking existing trails and crossing a lot of private land to create this route. So these aren't perfectly manicured trails with signposts and all those cool things and little huts. This is a wild trail. So a lot of it is off path. So we were scouting this weekend a beautiful little traverse around a mountain called Driekoppen, and looked at the weather beforehand, which you should never do. You should never look at the weather and make a plan. No. Just go, which we did, but we looked at the weather, and so we didn't take rain gear. And we got hit by horizontal rain, a huge thunderstorm, and we're soaked in seconds. So, but that's part of the experience.
It is part of the experience. Now, this past weekend wasn't the only time you've walked parts of the trail. Tell me about your experience walking different parts and which parts you've walked.
Well, I've walked pretty much all the parts as far as Stage 6. And this season, so we have a trail season every springtime between September and December. And this season, we are finishing off our last 2 stages, Stage 8 and 9. And this is very exciting. Some of those hikers joining us have been walking with us for the last 6 years.
Wow.
So guys take off like 2 weeks each year and they come and do a section or 2 sections, and then they come back next year and they do another section. And we've got a champion coming from the US again this year, a great hiker. He loves the Fynbos. So if you love Fynbos, the Rim of Africa is just the most amazing experience. I mean, we're basically walking through the biosphere reserves of the Western Cape. Cape Nature is one of our major partners in this exercise. And there's a conservation angle to what we're doing as well. It's not just about hiking. It's about trails, connecting trails, creating ecotourism benefits for the landscape, and also then connecting with the nature of those places and protecting those places. And the Cape Mountains are really worthy of our protection.